Let me ask you something. If the market crashed tomorrow and wiped out half your portfolio, how quickly could you rebuild it? Now ask yourself this. Could someone take away your expertise, your skills, the knowledge in your head right now? They can't. And that's exactly why your expertise is the most reliable income asset you will ever own. That's exactly why you can rely on your knowledge, your lived experience, your qualifications, your credentials, your inside information, the hacks that you know, the stuff that you know. My name is Jonathan Clark. Welcome to Chosen. This is my brand new show. And this is relevant for you if you are in the early to mid monetization phase of a coaching business or a creator business. If you've got some expertise, but you're maybe not fully monetizing it, or maybe you're holding yourself back from raising your prices. Maybe you've thought about packaging your knowledge. Maybe you love the idea of multiple income streams. What you might have done by now is you've consumed lots of content about building a business or maybe freelancing, running your own empire. But what I want to cover with you over the next few episodes is packaging your expertise, pricing your expertise, and making you your best investment. So if you're a coach of any kind, if you're a consultant, if you're a freelancer, if you're a course creator, an author, or a helping professional who's considering a move to going self-employed full-time or a side hustle, or maybe you're an employee who want to build something like an escape tunnel, right? So what I want to share with you in this show works really well in a climate of economic uncertainty, rising costs, job insecurity, anyone where controllability over passive markets hurts and is scary. Like the stuff that you can influence, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can't. So let me give an example of a client of mine. I'm going to call her Sarah for the purpose of today. She was a senior marketing consultant, had been for 11 years. Good salary, respected in her field, clients who called her first before anybody else. Then the agency that she worked with lost its biggest account, and her contract was the first thing that was cut. Now, she did have a modest ISA and a bit of savings. She checked her portfolio that morning, and the stock market had dropped 12%. The markets were reacting to the same economic conditions that had just cost her the contract. Freak out time, bricking it. She had 11 years of knowledge in her head. She had two income sources, and both had just moved in the wrong direction at the same time. That was the moment she started asking different questions in her head about what I actually own, right? What have I actually got that's an asset? Now, we'll come back to Sarah later on because I want to tell you what happened. But if you're watching this, and thank you for watching this, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, maybe you have been worried about recent situations, anxiety about the market, right? Fear of falling behind financially. Maybe you resent the fact that you work damn hard, but it never feels like enough. Maybe you've got imposter syndrome about charging what you think you're worth. Little old me, what do I know? Can I charge for what I know? Maybe you undercharge. Maybe you're giving away your expertise for free, helping professionals do that all the time. Or we're obsessing over the investment returns of too small a pot in our stock portfolio, waiting to be expert enough, getting more qualifications, more certificates. Who are you trying to convince? Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm not qualified enough to charge more, or you need money to make money, or passive income only works if you already have capital to fall back on, right? I work for an hour, I get paid for an hour, that's the way it's always been. I want you to get away from that thinking. Please get away from that thinking. I want you to have more confidence in the value of what you know. I want you to feel calm about the economic uncertainty because you know you can adapt. You're a jet ski. You can turn on a dime and you can monetize your expertise in multiple different ways. You can raise your prices. You're in charge of your prices. You can package your knowledge and lived experience into courses, books, monthly retainers, gaining income from expertise that would then fund your other normal investments. So treat skill development as a capital growth decision. That's what I'm suggesting. Start thinking to yourself that my knowledge is a compounding asset. I don't need capital to start. I need time and I need commitment. Expertise earns first, then it funds everything else. Whole different way of thinking about stuff. And I'm in control of that. You're in control of that. That's what I'm suggesting. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, hang on a minute. Why should I care? Why does it matter that expertise is more reliable than investment? Well, most people, that includes you, can't generate meaningful passive income from investments without first having a significant capital lump sum to invest in the first place, which most people just don't have. And a lot of people have eroded their capital just to get by in the last few years. If you don't have a reliable income stream coming in, the financial security depends entirely on your job. And let's face it, is there any such thing as job security anymore? Redundancy, illness, market conditions, household name companies getting wiped out overnight. Now, financial insecurity forces decisions from fear rather than choice. You're going by emotion and not logic. So maybe you stay in a crappy job, or you undercharge, or you're not investing in yourself. Does this sound familiar at all? Decisions made from fear compound, unfortunately. They snowball. People end up staying small, they stay stuck, and they never build the leverage that their expertise could actually allow them. Does that make sense? Is any of this making sense? Because life that you want, that most people want, where you've got time freedom, autonomy, financial security, is available to you through what you know. You just haven't been shown how to monetize your lived experience, your qualifications, your knowledge, your hacks, your inside tips and tricks. So I'm suggesting that the longer you treat your expertise as just a job, the longer it's going to take to build the life that you're working towards. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a job, it will pay you like a job. If you treat it like a career or an empire, great things can await you. If you develop your expertise and then you package it and then you raise your rates, that increases your income. You can do consulting, you can do courses, you can do coaching, you can do freelancing. You then use those funds to fund property, your pension, stock market, index-linked funds, gilts, growth capital. Human capital builds financial capital and both grow, right? Personal development stops when your income stops. It's really interesting. So it's expertise, income, capital, growth, okay? Which ultimately leads to financial security. So a couple of reasons why you would do well to think like this. First of all is controllability, the ability for you to influence stuff, right? How much control do you feel you actually have right now on your economic situation? You control how you develop and what skills you learn and how you monetize those skills. You decide what to study next. You decide what to charge and where to focus your attention. With investments and stock market and ISAs, you hand your money to forces that are entirely outside your control. And all it takes is one bad quarter, a bad decision, a tweet from someone from a large following, and your returns can move downward without you having any say whatsoever. I've seen it happen time and time again. And I want you to think of yourself as the asset manager. I want you to think of yourself as the stockbroker, right? You're no longer giving away your power. You're no longer giving away your control to some expert somewhere who hopefully knows what they're doing. So that's the controllability aspect. Next aspect is resilience, stamina, perseverance, or as one of my clients called it, perseverance, right? So think about your level of endurance under pressure. How well do you cope under sustained pressure? Your skills can't be lost if the market crashes or there's an economic downturn. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, fortunes were wiped out overnight, but the professionals with in-demand expertise, they rebuilt. Some of them thrived because crisis demands good advice, good execution, good thinking, smart thinking. Expertise adapts. The jet ski can pivot to new industries, to new applications, to new problems. Investments can go to zero. Knowledge compounds permanently, right? Look at what's happening right now with AI. The people who are going to be paid the most are the people who know how to talk to the robots, right? By the people who can't be bothered or don't want to learn. So we're in live, as it happens, emotional territory. And I want you to think about that. It's happening right now. You don't really have a choice. So if your expertise is controllable and resilient, what does that ultimately lead to in your life? How does that show up in real tangible ROI in terms of results? Let me walk through how your lived experience, your knowledge can generate money. Your expertise produces income through labor, through consulting, or through products. You can increase your earnings by deepening what you know. Investment stuff, returns are variable, right? You don't know what the stock market's going to do. You don't know. You can't predict the future. And you often need substantial amounts of capital just to generate any kind of meaningful income. If you look at the actual maths, at a 5% return, to make 10 grand a year, you need 200,000 just to make 10 grand a year. Your expertise has a much lower barrier to entry. Building your expertise just requires time, not capital. You can start from zero and build income over months, years, decades. All you need is time and discipline to study and learn and improve yourself. Does that make sense? So right now, if you jump into the comments and write down how many income streams your current expertise could support. Stick that in the comments. I'll be interested to see. Could you turn your knowledge into a book, right? Could you make 200K as a freelancer? 200K capital requirement to make 10 grand a year. Do you have a spare 200K lying about? It's much easier to make 10 grand a year. And when inflation bites, which it always does, your expertise gives you a lever that investments don't. There was no recession on the internet. There was no pandemic on the internet. When everything went crazy with lockdown, the courier services didn't slow down. The internet blossomed. There are grannies now ordering their food from the supermarket and it gets delivered in a van. Skilled professionals can raise their rates to match inflation. So when costs go up, you can put your prices up. Fixed income investments lose their purchasing power silently. The bucket just leaks all the time. You have a lot more leverage and control over that. And I want you to really realize that. Like, ding, your expertise can be packaged into e-learning courses, books, consulting programs, monthly retainers, entire businesses, one knowledge base, your brain, multiple income streams, multiple rivers feeding the lake. And that's an investment that an awful lot of investors don't have. Okay, if one of them goes down, it's no big deal because the other ones can compensate. If your book doesn't sell very well this month, your online course probably will. So courses, seminars, retreats, books, information products, software, apps. This is the most actionable time in history. It's never been easier to turn what's in your head into a productized product, right? So how do you do that? How do you do that? It sounds all well and good, Jonathan. How do I take what's in my head and actually put it out into the world and earn money from it? Remember, expertise funds investment. It doesn't replace it, but it helps fund it. So it's not about choosing expertise over investment. It's about sequence. It's not one or t'other. It's sequential. The most reliable wealth building strategy combines both. Use your expertise to generate income to fund your investments, which creates a cycle because then your investments pay you an income, right? Human capital building financial capital. Your expertise earns, your earnings invest, your investments compound, and that pays your income. But the engine that starts the cycle is always your knowledge, what's currently in your head, gathering dust if you're not monetizing it. If you know how to drive, someone out there is housebound and would love to be driven somewhere. If you know how to swim, somebody's out there right now who would love to be able to swim, but they don't know how. You could teach them. What's the expertise you have right now that you're not charging money for or that you're undercharging money for? Put it in the comments. I'd love to know. To generate $10,000 a year in passive income at a 5% return, you'd need £200,000 invested. Reminder, most people don't have that. Expertise-based income scales. It's not dependent on your capital. A consultant who deepens their specialism can double their fees without doubling their hours, earn twice as much money in the same amount of time. During recessions, demand for specialist advisors, coaches, consultants typically rises as organizations cut headcount and outsource expertise. Fixed income investments like bonds, cash, savings lose real value when inflation goes up. A professional who raises their rates by 10% outperforms inflation in real terms. Think about that. Now, here in the UK, the average UK professional changes careers up to 7 times in their lifetime. And that expertise adapts across contexts and compounds across industries, not just within one. Now you have skills, frameworks, intellectual property, experience that can be packaged into products that generate real income without additional working hours. One course, written once, can sell globally 24/7 on any device anywhere on planet Earth. Think about that. And you could build an online course today. Your expertise is a power station. It's a nuclear generator. Investments are the grid, and you can plug into the grid all you like. But without a power station generating electricity, nothing flows. Most people are obsessing over which pylons to use while never actually building the generator. Did that metaphor make any sense at all? You've got the knowledge. And if you invest without expertise income, it's like trying to fill a leaking bucket. You're continually putting your money into somebody else's bucket and you can't control the fund choices. You can't control the allocation. You certainly can't control the returns. But the actual problem is the hole in the bucket. Fill the hole in the bucket first. Build the income engine first. Then the bucket fills faster, okay? You are sitting on a gold mine if you just knew how to monetize it. Everybody knows the feeling. of being the most capable person in the room and not being paid for it, right? You ever sat in a meeting and thought you're the smartest person in the room, but you're not getting paid for it? Or maybe your job keeps you at a certain altitude and you're not allowed to go above it. We see that all the time. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to inventory your expertise. List every skill, methodology, or area of knowledge that people regularly ask for your help or advice in. These are your assets. What are you good at? Step 2, identify the income ceiling. So for each of these things, ask, what's the maximum rate the market pays for this stuff? Can I put this in a book? Could I get £20 for a book or $20 for a book? Could I charge $97 a month for a course? And then for each of these knowledge bases, could it be a consultancy offer? Could it be a coaching program? Could it be a retreat? Could it be a monthly retainer? Could it be a speaking topic? Allocate each asset to a delivery format, right? And then don't ask yourself which one, ask yourself which one first. Pick the single highest value asset on that sheet of paper and build it, get it out there and get it proven. Prove it through, as I call it. Get it making you £1,000 a month. That's life-changing money. Decide what monthly amount of income that you could generate from that, and then would you like to devote maybe 50% of that into an investment? Now you've got a combination of self-investment and real investment. £1,000 a month, put 500 into a savings plan, right? And then as you build your next income stream, plug that into the savings plan or your pension or whatever you want to do. This is the world I live in. This is what I've done for the last 29 years. And I want you to ask yourself the same question. What if my expertise becomes obsolete? Can it though? Expertise that's packaged into frameworks transfers across applications. The consultant who understands human behavior and human psychology or decision making is rarely obsolete. They can be employed in a number of different industries. Maybe you're thinking, I've already got significant investments. I don't need this. Well, expertise income is the engine that will determine how much you can feed into your portfolio. If you've got more income from your knowledge, you compound your portfolio gains faster. Maybe you think, I can't raise my rates in my industry. Well, that's a positioning problem, not an expertise problem. We'll cover positioning probably in a future episode. There are plenty of people out there who are making 10 times what you make for doing the same job. So imagine a version of yourself 2 years from now with a fully packaged expertise suite of products. You've got a consulting offer. You've got an online course selling globally. You're getting monthly retainers, multiple income streams from one knowledge base, all of them growing as your expertise deepens. That's not a fantasy. That's a sequence. The audience member who takes your information and your hacks and goes and changes their life and comes back to you and tells you all about it, writes you a testimonial. And then you can put that testimonial on your website or on Google or on LinkedIn. And all of a sudden, you're earning a living doing what you love and probably earning more than you ever did before, right? So let's go back to Sarah that I was telling you about earlier. 6 months after her contract ended, she did the audit, as I've explained. She identified 3 areas where she had genuine expertise. She built a 2-day workshop from one of them and she ran it twice. And she charged what the market was willing to pay, not what she thought she was worth. Big difference. By month 8, she had rebuilt her income completely and then added 30% on top. She set up a standing order into an index-linked fund, not because the market had recovered, but because her income engine was now chugging away quite happily and generating additional funds that she could invest. So here's my whole point. You can't control the market. You can control your expertise. Start with what you can control. Now, I have an entire self-study program. It's called Unforgettable, where you build your positioning and you turn your lived experience into multiple, 5 streams of income. We turn you into an Amazon best-selling author. You can run courses, retreats, corporate consulting, coaching programs. And the Unforgettable program is a 7-day free trial to see how much you like it. The link will be in the description around this video. And if anything that I rabbited on about today resonated with you, please share it with someone who's sitting on skills that they are not fully monetizing, because they need to hear this. If you don't change the way you're thinking, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll keep trading time for money, one client or one sale at a time or one job at a time, with no leverage, no compounding. And every economic shock will hit you twice. It'll hit your income and it'll hit your morale simultaneously. And the expertise that you've spent years building will sit gathering dust in your brain, under-monetized. You can be amazing at what you do, but if nobody knows, you'll be a long time broke. If, on the other hand, you do this stuff, you build an income engine from what you already know, You package it, you leverage it, you use the proceeds to fund a growing investment portfolio. Economic downturns increase demand for your expertise rather than threaten it. You become the asset that compounds. So, your choice, slow and difficult or fast and easy. It's entirely up to you. So the promise of this show, Chosen, is to help coaches, consultants, and knowledge professionals, experts, if you will, to achieve predictable income growth within the next 90 days while reducing dependencies on a single income source or volatile markets so that you have the financial confidence to build your life on your own terms. That's what I'm all about. That's what I help people do. Your expertise is not just in your career. It's your most durable, controllable, most compounding asset. Start with that, invest in yourself, package it, productize it, and then use what it earns to build the financial portfolio alongside you. Does that make sense? So this is Jonathan Clark. This is episode 1 of Chosen, where we realize that legends are not born, legends are engineered. Thank you for listening to me, and I'll see you next week. Take it easy, but take it.